Today's story is one of those where there is no easy answer, just truth and everything it breaks along the way. What would you do if you suspected your brother was raising a child that might not be his? Stay silent to protect his happiness, or speak up and risk tearing your family apart. This is the story of a woman who made a choice and is still paying the price for it.
I know what I did was wrong, but if I hadn't done it, my brother would still be living a lie, raising a child that was never his. I know I crossed a line. I know some people reading this will think I had no right, and maybe they are right. But if I could go back, I would still do it. Because sometimes the truth does not knock politely. Sometimes it crashes through the front door and dares you to pretend it is not real. My name is Jenna. I am 33 years old, and I did something my family may never forgive me for. I grew up with just one sibling, my younger brother Adam. After our father died when we were kids, I stepped into a kind of second parent role. Our mother worked constantly, just trying to keep the lights on. So I packed Adam's lunches, helped with his homework, stood in the rain at his soccer games. I was 12 and angry and scared, but I protected him like he was mine. Even now, decades later, that instinct never really left me. Adam is 30 now. He works in logistics, drives a dented truck, and still calls me when he needs help with insurance forms. We are close. Or, at least, we were. A little over 2 years ago, Adam started dating a girl named Megan. She was pretty, smart, quick with a joke, but something about her never sat right with me. It was not jealousy. I was happy he found someone. But there was a sharpness behind her smile, a way she seemed to scan every room for enemies. She never warmed to me, always polite, never kind. Within a year, Megan got pregnant. It was not planned. Adam was nervous but excited. He told me he was going to step up, that he wanted to be the father he never had. I believed him. When the baby came, he was beautiful. Soft curls, perfect skin, huge dark eyes. Everyone in the room cried, except me. I smiled, of course. I held him. I kissed his forehead. But something in me froze. The baby looked nothing like Adam. I do not mean vaguely different. I mean not a single feature matched. Adam has blue-green eyes, a sharp nose, long fingers. The baby had dark brown eyes, round cheeks, a completely different skin tone. At first I thought I was just being paranoid. Genetics are weird, babies change, I said nothing. But it stuck in my head like a splinter. And then I noticed other things. Megan was strangely territorial. She would not let Adam take the baby to appointments alone. She insisted on being there for every checkup, every shot, every bath time. If he suggested doing a paternity test just to be sure, she would shut it down immediately. Laugh, roll her eyes, say things like, "I cannot believe you would insult me like that." He would back down. She always got what she wanted. Meanwhile, I watched from the sidelines, smiling at birthday parties, holding my tongue at Christmas, watching this tiny little boy grow into a toddler that still looked like a stranger. I started Googling about blood types, about genetic markers. I compared photos. I told myself I was crazy. I told myself to stay out of it, that it was not my life. But it felt like I was watching someone I loved drown while being told to stay on the shore and clap. One night, Adam came over to my apartment after a fight with Megan. He said she had gone off on him for asking about the kid's pediatrician. Just a simple question. And she exploded, said he did not trust her. Accused him of wanting to take the baby away. He laughed it off, but I could see it in his eyes. He was tired, confused, scared. And that is when I made my decision. I would find out the truth myself. Not to ruin anything, not to start drama, just to know, just to sleep at night. I started planning, quietly, carefully. I work in a lab. Not a fancy one, but enough to know how to handle samples. I waited for the right moment. Then one afternoon while babysitting, I gently took the baby's pacifier and sealed it in a sterile bag. I clipped a hair from his brush. I took a swab of his drool from a toy. It felt wrong. It felt necessary. I packaged it along with a sample from Adam's toothbrush, which he had left at my place months ago. I paid out of pocket. The kit said results in 10 business days. I did not sleep for 9 of them. On the 10th day, the email arrived. Just one line in the preview. Your results are ready. I stared at it for a full hour before opening it. My hands were cold. My stomach felt like wet cement. I knew. Before I clicked. I knew. But part of me still prayed I was wrong. That I had just invented all of this in my head. Because I could not stand Megan. But the moment I opened the file, everything dropped. 0% probability of paternity. 0. Not a chance. Not a shred. Not a maybe. Adam was not the father. I remember making a sound I had never heard come out of me before. Not crying. Not screaming. Just something deep and animal and shaking. I closed the laptop and sat on the floor. My ears were ringing. I had done it. I had found the truth. And now I had no idea what to do with it. That night I barely slept. I kept imagining both outcomes. If I said nothing, he would go on raising a child that was not his, believing a lie, building his life on sand. But if I told him, it would break him. Maybe it would break everything. The trust, the relationship, the family. I thought about deleting the results, pretending I never saw them. But every time I pictured his face, his tired eyes, the way he talked about the kid like he was the best thing that ever happened to him, I felt sick. He deserved to know, even if he hated me for it. He deserved truth. 2 days later, I called him. I told him I needed to talk. Just the two of us. He came over after work, still in his uniform shirt, with fast food in a paper bag and bags under his eyes. He said Megan was being weird again, that he felt like she was hiding something. I almost laughed. I told him to sit. He asked what was going on. I said I needed him to listen and not speak until I finished. He looked confused but nodded. I told him about the doubts I had carried for 2 years, how I tried to ignore them, how I thought it was just my dislike for Megan clouding my judgment, how it became harder and harder to silence that voice. I told him about the test, about the samples, about the reality, about the results. I said I knew it was wrong to do it without his consent. I said I knew it would change everything. But I also said I could not keep watching him pour his whole soul into a lie. That I loved him too much to be quiet. He did not say anything for a long time, just sat there staring at the table. Then he asked to see the results. I printed them. He read them twice, hands shaking. Then he asked me to leave the room. I went to the balcony. I could hear him crying through the glass. Not sobbing, just these sharp, short exhales, like every breath hurt. When I came back in, he asked me one thing. Are you absolutely sure? I said yes. He nodded, said he needed to think. Then he left. No hug, no thank you, just silence. For the next 3 days, I heard nothing. I did not sleep. I did not eat. I thought I had lost him. Then I got a message. Just a text. I asked her. She denied it. Then she cracked. I asked if he was okay. He said not really. He said he felt like his whole world had been replaced with static. I offered to come over. He said no. He needed time. I said okay. I waited. A week later, he told me he was meeting with a lawyer. That he wanted custody, or at least answers. That he needed to understand if she had lied from the beginning, or if it was a mistake that snowballed. Megan, according to him, screamed, threw things. Said I had manipulated him. Said I planted the results. Then eventually she broke. Told the truth. That the baby might be someone else's. That she had been with someone else in the early weeks. That she never got the courage to tell him. Because he was too good. Because he would have left. Because she liked the idea of Adam being the father more than the reality. He called me again, said he was filing for a formal test through the court. Said the lawyer was confident, said he was going to fight. I told him I was proud of him. He did not say thank you, just hung up. I sat there staring at the phone. I had done what I thought was right, but the pieces were falling fast. And I had no idea where any of us would land. The test ordered by the court confirmed what we already knew. 0%, no biological link. Adam was not the father. There was something devastating about seeing it typed in formal legal language. Cold, clinical, no space for hope. Megan moved out 3 days later, took the baby, and went to stay with her mother across town. Adam did not try to stop her. He said he needed to think, that everything in his head was noise. I offered to come over, to cook, to just sit with him, But he kept saying he needed space. I respected that. For a while. Then our mother found out. She called me in a rage. Demanded to know what I had done. She said I had destroyed everything. That Megan might have lied, but I was the one who lit the match. I told her Adam had the right to know. She said I was always in his business. Always acting like his second mother. That maybe I liked having control. That maybe this was never about love, just power. Her words gutted me. I could not defend myself. I knew I had crossed lines. But I never did it for control. I did it because I could not stand watching him live, inside a lie. After that call, things got worse. Megan started spreading things around. To friends. To neighbors. She told people I forged the test. That I hated her. That I was obsessed with ruining her family. Some believed her, some did not. But the damage was done. Invitations stopped coming. Mutual friends stopped texting. I became the villain in a story I never wanted to be part of. And Adam? He stopped calling. Weeks passed. Then a month. I sent messages. Short ones. I love you. I am here if you need me. He never replied. I saw him once at the grocery store. He looked thinner. Pale. Tired. I did not approach him. Just watched from the other side of the aisle as he stared at cereal boxes like they were a different language. That night I cried harder than I had in years. Not because he was angry, but because I had no idea how to reach him anymore. He had always been my little brother. My responsibility. My person. And now he was this haunted stranger wandering through wreckage I helped create. I talked to a therapist. For the first time in my life. She asked if I regretted it. I said no. But I also said I missed him so much it hurt to breathe. She asked if I thought I did it for him or for myself. I said both. And maybe that was the truth. I could not live with the lie anymore. But I also could not live with the silence that followed the truth. Then, one afternoon, I got a letter. Not a text. Not an email. A letter. From Adam. It was 3 pages long. He said he was angry. That he felt betrayed. That I had taken something from him he could never get back. The illusion. The timeline. The right to find out on his own terms. But he also said he knew Megan never would have told him. That without me he would still be waking up in the middle of the night to feed someone else's child, thinking it was his. That part of him would always resent me. But another part, maybe the deeper part, understood. At the end of the letter he wrote, I do not know when I will be ready to talk, but I do not hate you. That was the moment I broke. Not because it made things better, but because it meant I had not lost him completely. I kept that letter on my nightstand for weeks. Read it every night before bed. Sometimes I whispered his words like prayers. I do not hate you. I do not hate you. I do not hate you. It was not healing. But it was something. Months passed. Adam did not call. I did not push. Sometimes I would see a photo of the baby online, now a toddler, smiling in some stranger's backyard. Megan had deleted me from everything, but mutual friends reposted things. The boy was growing. Taller. Laughing, still with those same dark eyes. Eyes that never looked like Adam's. Sometimes I wondered if that mattered anymore. If DNA could ever replace love built over 2 years. If maybe, in a different world, Adam would have chosen to stay anyway. But that was not the world we lived in. Megan fought the court order. She tried to block visitation. Tried to claim the test was invalid. Her lawyer argued that Adam had acted as the legal father, and therefore had obligations. The judge disagreed. Eventually, the paperwork was finalized. Adam was removed as the legal parent. No more visits, no more support, just silence. I never asked him how that felt. I did not want to know. I did not think I had the right to ask anymore. We spoke briefly a few months after the letter. He called on my birthday. Said he thought of me. That he hoped I was well. We talked for 15 minutes. It was stiff. But real. He said he was in therapy. That he was still unpacking everything. That sometimes he hated how it all ended, but he did not hate the truth. I told him I loved him. That I always would. He said he knew. Then he hung up. I cried for an hour after that. Not because it hurt, but because it healed something I did not think could heal. I have not seen the boy since the test. He probably does not remember me. I used to rock him to sleep. I used to hum lullabies while Megan scrolled her phone. I used to believe I would be part of his life forever. Now he is a photo I sometimes see by accident. A name I try not to say out loud. My mother still thinks I ruined everything. She brings it up during holidays, or after a glass of wine. Says I should have stayed out of it, that Adam would have figured it out in time, that I took away his choice. I do not argue with her. I just leave the room. Let her have her grief. She lost a grandson. I lost a brother for a while. We are both grieving ghosts that never fully belong to us. I keep thinking about that line Adam wrote in the letter, that I took something from him. I think he is right. But I also think I gave him something too. Freedom. Painful, messy, honest freedom. And maybe one day, he will see it that way. Or maybe not. Maybe he will always feel like I crossed a line I had no right to cross, that I let my fear drown his peace. But I could not keep watching the lie grow. I could not keep smiling at birthday parties and pretending that boy was something he was not. It felt like betrayal every time I said his name. Like I was playing along in someone else's fantasy. I did not want to play anymore. So I stopped, and the cost was everything. But the lie was gone. And there is peace in that. A quiet kind of peace. Not joyful, not satisfying, just stillness. Sometimes I miss the way things were. When we were kids. When Adam looked at me like I was his anchor. Now we are both just people who used to be closer than most siblings. Who survived something. Who carry pieces of each other in places no one else can see. I do not know if he will ever call me sister again. But I know I was one when it mattered. When it cost the most. I made a choice. And I stand by it. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Because love is not always soft. Sometimes love is a scalpel. And sometimes being the one who cuts is the only way to save someone before the infection spreads too deep to treat. I did not want to be the one who opened the wound. But I could not live knowing I let it fester. So I cut. And we bled. And now we are healing. In our own ways, in our own time. Was I right to do this? Or did I go too far?
Thank you for listening all the way through. Sometimes the truth is not a rescue, it is a blow. But maybe knowing is still better than living in a lie. If you found this story meaningful, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring more real stories like this one. And tell us in the comments, would you have done what she did? We read every word. See you in the next story.